Okay, so next we're on D3 symptoms, and now K2. Take a look at the high dose toxic D3. Is too much vitamin D, for example, and therefore your body's not managing it all. What does your body need to manage it? It needs magnesium, for example. Okay, and then it can use the D3. However, you don't have enough D3 being you have vitamin D, but you're not using it. Okay, and the problem about upper limits and safety is that and it's not really that real. But if you have a research perspective on that, it's really good. Where you could be like, when people are trying to do this, they're not really supplying the bodies right, and it might not be safe to tell people that they can help themselves. Honestly, that's the way I think of it. There was absolutely so much restriction around communication about food and stuff that I'm like, I'm not actually sure if that helps people to know that. But it was something like it helped me, therefore in that, meaning I can pass it on. So, um, you know, you needed magnesium, for example, to manage the vitamin D because your electrolytes are affected. You're starting to see other electrolytes affected. For example, you've got your um, uh, hypercalcemia results from the high dose vitamin D because you're not managing things right, and now you've got symptoms of hypercalcemia, right? So let's start with hypercalcemia symptoms, and suppose you're something feeling one of these symptoms like dizzy or something. So you're like, oh, I'm nauseous. Um, uh, I'm nauseous, right? So I thought I needed to eat electrolytes, but I have too much calcium. So what I need to do is increase other electrolytes to put them in ratio. To put them in ratio with the calcium, or I might need water to hydrate. I might also need to balance my pH. So it's like, well, it's nausea. That could be a pH issue. If it's vomiting and mucus, right, it could be alkalinity, pH issue that's opening the valve. Also could be an issue with what's happening. You need a nutrient in your stomach. You need nutrients to hold the stomach in kind of in a situation where it's okay. Okay, it needs to go back to its natural position with a condition with like it's naturally comfortable, right? So you need it to go back there because you have the nutrient for that. So you got to think what nutrients are correlated to vomiting. I mean, vomiting is this thing that no one can stop. But then if you know the nutrient for it, you don't vomit. So I was a lifetime vomiter, and then I found out control pH, control the valve, right? Control the nutrient in the stomach, and then I'm fine. So, okay. Loss of appetite, for example. Okay, so not hungry or constipated, right? So you might be thinking about how do you solve constipation, how do you solve for appetite, and things like that. And so it's kind of like creating cross sections where you were like, okay, so you have too much of a thing of calcium, for example, and you can see, for example, cognitively, for example, you got irritated because you had too much calcium. Calcium's annoying. It's like, whoa! Suddenly get angry. Because they had their favorites and they get upset. So okay, so B1 deficiency, irritation in B1. So it's like, okay, so now you're affecting cognitive. You're looking probably at the B complex with calcium and seeing how you might be working with need more nutrients in one area or more efficiency, not as much sugar, not as much carbohydrate, do things that you're balancing yourself so your B1 production is okay. So you're trying to bring your B1 back into successful production use, eating it endogenously, making it, um, exogenously eating it, that kind of thing. Okay, so yeah, B1 complex, cognitive, right? So digestive, it might be like pH and some other nutrients, right? Minerals and such. Okay, constipation, what is going on? Is it with fiber? Is it with bile? It's never fiber, because I don't need fiber, you got to kind of figure that out yourself and just keep like figuring out what you've been doing lately, what you've been eating, what you know you don't have, and so you can make a rational choice.